Hello, hello. Welcome to Entrepreneur School. I'm going to open the waiting room so that I don't have to press that button again. I hate it when I accidentally leave people stuck in a waiting room. Hi, Erin. So Entrepreneur School is back in session. It's like back to school for the kids this week for us up here in Alberta, and depending on where you are in the world, potentially in your life as well. And so really excited to be getting back on track and having these events every couple of weeks. We have a great lineup of speakers through to the end of the year. So I'll drop the link in the chat where you can go and check out and register for upcoming events. Anything that's of interest to you. This entire platform is designed to just be a resource and help you turn on the blinders a little to the many things that are always coming in to your life as a business owner. That shiny object syndrome, right? That you can easily experience when you start consuming or following people on social media or attending webinars and this, that, and all the rabbit holes that you go down. I'm kind of curating a really amazing group of experts with different experiences and different topics, and whatever feels like something you want to watch or participate in is probably what you need to do right now. You don't need to come to them all. You don't need to download all the things. It's kind of just whatever speaks to you. That's what I designed this for. So we have live community during these events, and then the recordings of them go up on our website so that you can always watch replays of previous sessions in case you missed them. So today we have the wonderful Terilee Harrison coming at us from Houston, Texas. Much easier for you now to connect into things like this. When I first met Terilee, she lived in Singapore. So it was always like the middle of the night or first thing in the morning, or like complete opposite time of the world anytime we would connect on something. So
yeah,
I'm going to give you like the quick bio for you. Terilee, she's a virtual and face-to-face networking expert and trainer, an entrepreneur, an international speaker, and author. And she connects business owners, coaches, and consultants through an online global referral community at Team Referral Network's virtual chapters. So this is a global group of business owners, which I've been part of. I met hundreds of people through that network. It's really amazing. The level to which Terilee knows networking is very high level. So like high, not like broad, but high as in like serious amazingness. So she's been an expert in business networking and relationship marketing for 15 years and has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs through Team Referral Network. And as a professional speaker, she has the ability to both inspire and challenges audiences to action and change that can be attributed to her consistently authentic presentation regarding who she is, where she's been, and what she's learned around the way. And so Terilee is in Texas, as I mentioned, with her husband, Terry, and their 4 children that they have around the world. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us, Erin. It is totally interactive. You can participate or you can not, but I would definitely take advantage of Terilee's brilliance while you're here. So I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. And Erin, thanks for being here. And I just want to stop and acknowledge everyone that's going to watch the replay. Just know that we have you in mind and we're absolutely thinking of you as we prepare. So I'm going to go ahead. Now, what did that do that for? Sorry. Let's try again.
Reset.
I must have had the wrong thing highlighted. Ta-da, that's a little better. Hi guys, I'm so excited to talk about networking with you today. And, as I go to talk about it, I wanted to just share the one thing about networking is, we are not born great networkers. It's a learned skill. And I think back of all the things that Kelly just told you about me, I think back to one of my first networking events. I had a friend who was in networking. She taught a class, and so I learned some about networking before I went in. But the very first event I went to go to, I pulled in the parking lot. I meant driving in this face-to-face event in Southern California, 15 plus years ago. I pulled in the parking lot and I could see there's like a courtyard, and the business owners are inside mixing and mingling. And I took one look at that and I called my husband and I said, I'm coming home. I'll go next month. Like I didn't even have the guts to walk in, right? So I come from very humble beginnings when I come to talk to you about networking today. And what an honor. The concept for me of entrepreneur school, oh my gosh, like this entrepreneur school should be the latest, greatest, and the biggest, Kelly. We all need it. We all need it. So kudos to you for developing this amazing platform. What comes to mind for me is there will be some of you who, if I was to ask you on a scale of 1 to 5, where are you? Like 5 is, I love networking. I'm really into networking. I feel really pretty good about my networking. 1 being, oh my gosh, I need a lot of help. 3 somewhere in the middle. If I was to quiz everyone and poll everyone watching between now and like the replay, the thing for me is no matter where you are, I just invite you that through the things I share today to look at, I say something, you're like, yeah, I've done that before. I want you to just keep in mind, is this something that you want to revisit? Is it something you want to level up, how you're showing up? Just take a look at it with an open mind and see what comes up for you right now. Would you like to implement some of these things? So our presentation was billed as we would be talking about how to expand your network, top strategies for building referral relationships, and power partners and joint venture partnerships. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And inside of that, I'm going to be teaching 5 key networking strategies. So I'm delighted to, and if we have time, we'll do Ask Terilee. Do you love that? Okay, I thought you would. That just sounds just like Kelly. So I had this slide up. Kelly did a super good job. If there was a couple things more I wanted to share with you all just for fun, that would be an interesting tidbit is I was networking online before it was cool. So I have a friend, James Fierce, and James could see networking in the virtual world 7 years ago. So I literally, it's going on 8 now. I just ran across something in Google Drive from James from 2014. And James knew we'd be on our phones, on our laptops, on traveling. He knew we could be networking with people regionally, nationally, globally. And so we first began this test of online networking back in 2014. And that experiment lasted about a year. Do y'all remember Google Hangouts? So Google Hangouts could let 10 people in a screen, right? That's all you could ever get. So you could never have like a big meeting, grow a big group. You always are worried about, did you have enough room for everyone? So our experiment lasted about a year. And after that, we hit the pause button. My husband's job move, relocation to Singapore in 2017 I was like physically taken from my large network in Southern California that I've been growing for years. And I was like, oh, I want to try the online thing again. I was like, when the opportunity comes that we move back home, I want to pick up my laptop and take my business with me. And that's what I was able to do. So when COVID hit, I'd already been in online networking since late 2018. And, it's been quite an adventure in the last couple of years as everyone came to see online networking. Some have stayed. Online networking now is, I think, even morphing into 2.0. What does that look like for people? And it's just really a pleasure to be meeting people. I wouldn't know Kelly. I would have never met Kelly if it wasn't for this. So I hope online networking is something that is important to you as well. And then just a fun fact about me is I have my own Supergirl cape and I'm not afraid to wear it. So I love to share that. Fun facts are great. So in the things we're going to talk about today, I'm going to invite you to take plenty of notes. I have, if there's a place to upload them for people watching the replay, I have some worksheets that can be uploaded for those watching the replay. But the first thing we're going to do today and in the strategies we're going to talk about is just talk about the outline of your business commercial. So when you go to network, and I call it your business commercial blueprint. So grab a pen and paper or be ready to take some screenshots or take some shots with your phone because this is what I suggest makes up a great outline for your commercial. So as we go to share that, I want to just share some points that I believe are important about your 1-minute commercial.
Can
And
I
so,
just interrupt for 1 second?
yes,
Because this is the like just AKA your business commercial is the answer to the what do you do question, the dreaded thing that you don't, the reason you probably don't even walk into the room in the first place is because you're like, how do I even respond to that? And this is what Terilee has coined as the business commercial. I love it.
thank you for that. Interrupt me like that anytime you want to. So your this is the thing about our commercials are when you are ready to go into events and share your commercial. These are face-to-face or online. Some of us are need to grow our business. We see clients locally. And some of us we do both. We meet people locally and online. And some people are like, nope, I'm ready to do business with a whole bunch of people that I may never meet in person, right? What people don't realize is that when you have people that come to know you, like you, trust you, that you're able to go and present what it is you're looking for to them, it can be one of the most powerful ways to grow your business. But people don't give it the power and they just don't invest that kind of time in it. You know what I have come to find after going to thousands and thousands of networking meetings over the last 15 years is Kelly and Aaron, right? Aaron,
Yes.
is that most people wing it. They don't plan what they're going to talk about. They don't work on what they're going to say about their business. They certainly don't ask for anything. And then they walk away and they're like, well, networking doesn't really work for me. So with some intention, we can get clear on our message. I'm going to teach you how to ask for things that'll move the needle in your business. You can create a steady stream of referrals. You absolutely can. We're going to even look at who to network with. So something is happening with the screen. Oh boy, hold on. Oh, good. Whew. Okay, so what I want to invite you to make your commercial sticky. So I have a question for you all. So I have an Italian friend, and he taught me how he makes pasta. And so he taught me how he takes that pot of boiling water on the stove, and after the pasta is done cooking, or when he thinks it's near done, he'll grab a piece of pasta out and he'll throw it against the wall to see if it sticks. And if it sticks, he knows it's done. So we want to make our commercial sticky also. And the reason for that is we have in our brain what is known as the reticulator activator. And the reticulator activator is that portion in the brain. So I'm going to ask y'all, for me, it's way farther than you. But to go back like to high school, to that boy you liked, right? To whoever's watching, to that boy you liked, that girl you liked. And once you knew what kind of car they drove, every time you saw that car, you'd be, oh, is that them, right? Or you know how you buy a car today and you don't see many of them and all of a sudden it's all you see, right? Your commercial can be sticky too. I'm going to teach you how to make it sticky. And the reason you want your commercial to be sticky is if I just say, hey, everybody, Terilee Harrison here with Team Referral Network Virtual Chapters. I'm a networking coach and trainer from Houston, and I really don't give them much else. They're like, oh, okay, right? But if I will dive in and tell them what I'm looking for, do you know what happens? Our brains start going. All of a sudden, if I was to tell you I'm looking for someone who coaches podcasters, someone who coaches people who do podcasts, I'm looking for someone who coaches people on their speaking, all of a sudden you're like, oh, and then next thing you know, you're thinking of who you want to introduce me to, and some of you will do it, right? This is making it sticky, having us take cause and notice you, remember you, and possibly even want to help you. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we want to engage people with. So next, I want to encourage you, if you network at the same places, to change up things regularly. And what do I mean by that? So our meetings happen to be a weekly meeting. I know some of you might go to like a monthly event, right? And the thing about the seeing the people over and over again is I was in a meeting once with a wellness person, and 1 week she asked to meet an oral surgeon, which is a great ask because they potentially could share the same client. The thing is week 1, I was in Singapore at the time. I didn't have anybody, right? Well, next week, she asked for the oral surgeon again. 3rd week, she asked again. And by that time, Terilee is like, oh, I couldn't help you the first week, right? And so changing it up, I'm gonna teach you how to do that. Changing it up will be crucial. It'll be crucial so that your people that you're networking with can be thinking about these fresh asks and how to refer you. And then the one thing I want to always encourage you to do is tie what you're asking for with your monthly goals. So again, we want to do this with intention. So what do I mean by that? So often, like, I'll know, say that Kelly said, yeah, Terilee's coming to entrepreneur school and speaking, and like that's what she wanted to do, was promote the September entrepreneur school. And Kelly gets on an event, and instead Kelly talks about something else. And so, not that I was in the example, Kelly, but sometimes I'll say to people, because I'll know they have something big happening they want everybody to know about, and I'll be like, well, what about that? Oh yeah, they don't ask relevantly. They're just showing up and asking for anything, right? And if we will tell people what we're really looking for, people will help us. So that's just your little reminder there. And then if you've been networking, because I meet a lot of people that are like, networking doesn't work for me, or this, this isn't working out. And this is just an important thing. And to ask yourself, we have to look inward. And that's, if you're not getting what you want from your networking group, I want to invite you to look at, what have you been asking for? Have you been intentional, or have you been winging it? Because if you're winging it and all over the place, I go back to, what you ask for is what you get. And if you're not really asking for much, they aren't going to be able to help you. So our responsibility with our networking always needs to come back to us, not the other people that we're meeting. So this is a little bit about your business commercial blueprint. And then just a note to keep in mind, I'm going to talk about 1 minute, but sometimes at events, face-to-face and online, you might get 1 minute, 60 seconds. Sometimes you're going to get 30 seconds, and sometimes you're going to get like 10-15 seconds, where you really only have the opportunity to say your name and what you do, right? When you can, I want to encourage you to ask. Our second module is about asking big, and I want you to always ask for something if you can work it in with a time frame. So that's just a little bit of my points about this concept of introducing yourself. And what I love about this is, I want you to think about that this can be used in multiple ways. So number one, at a networking meeting, okay? When you're given that chance to say what you do. Number two, it can be just, hey, you're out in a parking lot and you meet somebody, or you're at your kid's school walking back out after dropping them off, and, oh, you work from home? Oh, what is it you do, right? You can tell them this, not the whole commercial maybe, but pieces of it, right? You're going to be clear and concise about what you say. And some of what you create for this message is going to be something that can go in your LinkedIn headline. You never know. It could be on your website, it can be part of your speaker intro, right? When you nail some of this, it can be used repeatedly. And so that's some of the great news here. So let's talk about what actually you would say. And there's a method to my madness. So if you think about, you have 60 seconds, sounds like not a lot, but it is a lot, but yet it's not a lot. Does that make sense? So have you ever been to a networking meeting? For those who are here, have you been to networking meetings? I just want to make sure that we've had a little bit of experience. So have you been?
A little bit.
A little bit. Awesome, Erin.
Yes.
So the thing for me is, like, I've been at meetings where they, oh my gosh, the people ramble. They ramble, tell you a bunch of stuff you don't want to know. Have you ever seen those? Kelly, I bet you've seen that. Yeah. They tell you, my company's listed on the New York Stock Exchange. We are debt free. Our logo, our logo is red and yellow. Like, they tell you all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to know any of that, right? So let's talk about what I recommend you say, and the method to the madness, because there is one. So if you have a great question that can catch their attention, start with that. Okay. Ask the question and then you can let them know your name and company name, or I'm Terilee Harrison and I'm a networking coach and trainer, right? You can give your name and title perhaps, or what you do. And then this is the clincher. This is the one that can appear everywhere. And that's the, what do you do, that Kelly mentioned. So what do you do? And if you can say it in one sentence. And so this sentence looks something like, I, action verb, my target market with blank. And I'm going to put this in the chat. It's I, action verb, my target market with, what do you do? Okay. So let's look at that in the chat. So I help, assist, train, provide, support, teach. What action verb, really like do you feel fits how you show up to serve your clients? I support, I encourage. Mhm. And then who is your target market? So a lot of times it's easy for people, Kelly meets people, I'm sure, that will come to her and say they want to serve everybody. They want to serve everybody, and it's we really can't. So I will say, in the scheme of my networking, um, that I serve coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs. That's what I say. Coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs. Anything that I say here in our entrepreneur school segment is up for R&D. I call it rip off and duplicate, but it's up to be shared. If there's anything I say that you like, if I saw you and, and you said, "Oh, I did that," I want you to. I want you to, right? Because someone originally shared it with me. Okay, but you could say you work with women. You work with families, you work with teachers, you work with homeowners, you work with entrepreneurs, you work with corporate professionals. You with me? So getting clear, let us know who you're seeking, and then how do you help them? So this is important in the scheme of things, the how do you help them, because I want to encourage you to be clever. Some professions, there's a lot of us, and it's like, oh, another insurance person. And insurance is important. Okay, I'm not saying it's not important. However, when you can separate yourself out from the crowd to be the memorable insurance person, that's powerful. That's powerful. So right now, today, I say I help coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs be able to network in the most dynamic and lucrative way. And that's the people say, well, what do you mean by that? Okay. And so I want to encourage, and we can, Kelly, with time pending, we can work on this after this segment if you'd like. So we can take a look at timing and but this sentence, when you nail this sentence, it's the answer to being in the kids' school parking lot. What do you do? I da da da. Mm-hmm. It can absolutely be your LinkedIn profile, and it keeps you from spending a lot of time. It keeps you from spending a lot of time like that person, like wasting their commercial with the debt-free stuff, because this is what you say you do, right? So if there's anything that I want to encourage you with this commercial, is that sometimes I think we need to talk in very not flowery language, expert language, but let's be clear. This is not the time to be using fancy words that people won't understand. This is the time to talk like that anyone could understand it. I have a wellness person that I network with. Her name is Kim Jakes, and she talks about how she knows all the Jedi language of wellness and anti-aging, and that she could use the Jedi language, but there's times when you need to talk non-Jedi. It's because if, again, with the sticky and the pasta, right? If you're talking and I have no idea what you're talking about, it goes over my head, right? If I understand, right? If I understand what you're saying, oh, I'm intrigued, right? There's a couple things about networking. Number one is not everyone there at networking events are there to buy your thing. Oh, right? They're not. There will be the times that people say, oh, I've been looking for that. That happens. And it's really great when that happens, right, Kelly? But it's not an all the time thing. But you want them to be catching it so that they know that they're looking for you. The other thing they're there for is to look at building relationships with you. And that's absolutely going to be part of our conversation here as we go forward. So
can we sorry, Terilee, I have a question on this. On the what do you do in one sentence, because like literally I have an entire course that it's like module 5 that we finally get into this. So it's just for the record, not that easy to just really. But can we talk about specificity versus generalization in the way that you talk about yourself? Because I think a lot of people maybe who are like life coaches and things like that, they want to use like language like you know, help you like connect with your inner goddess and like do this thing. And can I use your business, Erin, as an example?
Yeah.
She's my coach. Erin has a mobile sugaring and beauty aesthetic business,
How
right?
wonderful.
You
That's great.
could say,
Thank you.
I do that. Like I help women like remove hair. Like she could be that specific, or she could talk
Mhm.
about feeling good
Mhm.
about yourself
Mhm.
because you're taking care of yourself, like in a
Mhm.
general way.
Mhm.
But if you just talk about that high level, then their next question is why or how.
Yes.
So do you like two-part that sometimes? Or like do you add on sometimes of like I help them do this by this method or
Yes.
through
Yes,
there.
you can. Yes, you can. Or add in, I action verb my target market with blanks so they can. But I would totally, Erin, is with you as an example, I would totally talk about hair removal, silky skin, however you say it, so that it's like obvious that that's going to be one of them, that it's like, oh, I've been looking for someone, right? But if we don't get it, that that's what you're up to, and you're going to just make us feel good, no.
Yeah.
We'll be like, well, how do, yeah. Make it plain. Make it, great question, Kelly. Make it plain.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because I'm like reworking mine, like so totally workshopping as you speak here. And I could say like I teach service-based entrepreneurs how to confidently grow their brands, but I'm not talking about education like tools or marketing strategies or things that I actually do. So I kind of feel like I need to put that in there as well.
Yep. I think spell it out for people. Just spell it out. And again, it's not that we're going to take 30 seconds to explain it. Because again, we're going to get to the method for the madness here coming up. And so we just want to be concise. And again, so often like you know what you're talking about, but that's we want everybody else to know what we're talking about too. So thank you for that. That's really great. And so Erin, we do want to know that there's hair removal involved. Mhm.
Yes, and at the moment, I do have a little sentence I typically say, and often I get asked, well, what kind of services do you provide? And then that kind of usually keeps the conversation flowing, and they find out a little bit more about what I offer, and then many people haven't even heard of body sugaring.
Mhm.
So it gives me a good opportunity to then explain how that works as well.
Awesome. Love
Mhm.
it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so we're going to keep going. And thank you for the question, Kelly. So then where are you located? So this is important for several reasons. So number one, people will know if you're meeting people locally, they'll know. And I want to invite you to be like pretty specific on where you serve people then. So I used to describe to people when I was in Southern California, for example, like the greater LA area, like get specific, because people say, I serve people anywhere. That's not true. That's not true. So if you're willing to drive like a half an hour outside of your area from here to here to here and give us the points, if you're local, that's really important for people to know. Like if it's a mobile hair removal service, Erin, that is super important that people know exactly. And number one, it tells me would I go there? But number two, also prompts me to think, who do I know in that area? Ooh, right. Suddenly my reticulator activator is going on the location. So, and if you are someone who works with people online, you can still say so. And I have to say, I want you to be specific because it's just important. Like up until I knew I was moving to Houston, so the conversation had been Singapore for 5 years. Suddenly when Houston starts coming up, every Zoom I'm getting on, there's people from Houston, and there might have been for 5 years. It's just that it wasn't part of the conversation. You can make it part of the conversation. So I'm located in Houston and I serve people throughout the English speaking world. That's one way to say it if you're global. And then also if you're looking to expand outside of your area, call it out. So I was speaking for an organization this morning, my time, and I know that they're expanding in the Philippines and in India over the next few months. And like, that's important to know. Because what happens is then you start thinking about who do you know in those areas. So make sure you say where you'd like to expand, where you're located, where you serve people. Now, this is where we start to get into the asking, ASK, asking. And so when you have the opportunity, I want you to always throw in an ask. It's what will make things sticky. It's what will cause us to go, oh, maybe I can help them, right? And so we're going to dive much deeper here in the next coming conversation into the ask. And then as you end your commercial, if you have a great, this is a whole other class, really, Kelly. If you have a great motto, creed, or tagline, this is a great time to give it at the end to tie your commercial up in a bow. But if you look at the method for the madness would be, my name is Terilee Harrison. I am a global online director with Team Referral Network virtual chapters. I bring together coaches, consultants, and solopreneurs in a global online referral community where they can connect, collaborate, evolve, and grow. I do this from my home in Houston, Texas, but serve professionals from throughout the English-speaking world. Today, I'm looking for, and then I give my ask and I close, okay? And the thing about it is by being practiced, by being specific, you're allowing the most time, what for? For asking for what you need. That's the method for the madness, right? Don't take up so much time giving a bunch of minutia about what you do that there's no time for the ask. That's the minutia.
I think you make such a good point that I want to highlight about it what kind of your goal is when you go to networking, right? Like, first of all, don't go without a goal. And it's not always to find a client. In fact, for me, it's been mostly the power partner area, like people who can connect me to other people or people who can connect me to potential clients more so like, and that like, there's so many people who have spoken on this stage at Entrepreneur School and other events that I've done, or whose podcasts that I've been on as a result of going to networking events. And that's so I also went to a networking event that was not organized like yours are. And people like, and it was online, which was awkward. And it was mostly like, hey, we're trying to have a thing, but we don't have like a structure or anything. And so nobody was asking anything. And I'm like, you literally aren't even walking out with business cards. Like when you would go to an in-person one, you would at least be like, okay, I got a bunch of business cards. Now I'll decide if I want to call any of these people or follow up in any way. But if you go to an online networking and there's no like conversation ask or whatever, then it really is a waste of time.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. That's hard. So the thing about having this outline is there'll be parts of it that over time you'll memorize and be able to just have it come out. And that would be like your name, what do you do, where are you located, the closing, and then all you need to be concerned about is what you're going to ask for. That's the good news. Now, a couple things. So I want to encourage you. It is okay to read your commercial, and I want to invite you over time to write it out. So if I have this worksheet here, I want to show you. So online, do you know that it's right below the camera and you can't tell, right? So I can smile, read it. I don't have to hide behind it, right? But I can smile, I can read it, and I would rather have you read it or at least have a post-it note or an index card with what you're going to ask for than wing it, because winging it's going to get you wing it results. And over time, you will memorize a portion of it, right? So it's okay. I think that people will actually be impressed with you when you show up and you nail your message. They're not going to think, oh man, Erin's reading it again. They're not going to be like that. They're going to be like, wow, Erin's really on her message. Yeah. So let's talk about some action steps that we could take for leveling up our commercial. So number one, I think this is really important. This goes back to Jedi and non-Jedi language, is ask some trusted friends to tell you, do they understand what you're saying? And tell them you want them to be brutally honest, right? I sometimes hear people talking about what they do and I'm like, whoa, I have no idea. And yeah, we want people to be clear. We want people to be clear. And then once you have worked on your commercial, take it out and try it out. Go to a couple of events, read it, see how people receive it. Ask again, you can ask somebody that people will tell you, people who know you, if they see the change in your commercial, if they hear it, they'll tell you, they'll go, oh, Kelly, that was great, right? So this is the section, Kelly, on your business commercial blueprint for us to give a pause before we continue.
Okay, I have a question.
Mhm.
So if your business does multiple things
Mm.
that you have managed to connect together and put
Yeah.
under one umbrella,
Mhm.
but kind of makes it a little convoluted for the sake of a 1 minute introduction, would
Mhm.
you maybe make some versions of
Uh-huh.
it
Uh-huh.
depending on what you want to highlight at a particular time? So my business
Mhm.
being the example here where I have like entrepreneur school, which is totally education. So if I'm looking for speakers for entrepreneur school or connections to speakers or ways to promote it, affiliate partners or something like that, I might want to just talk about that versus if I want to talk about the work that I do for clients within our sort of agency piece where we do marketing strategy, brand development, websites, those kinds of things. Or number 3 is like I'm a coach. So that's a different area altogether too. And I'm like, I don't think I can make one sentence that says all of these things. Right.
You can,
So
yeah. Sometimes we have to, this is the one thing, guys. I've had people, when I say ask for something every time, you can't ask for more than like 1 or 2 things. Like that people will forget. I've seen people ask for like 6 things, and by then they're like confused, they're forgetting. So yes, there are times when you're gonna want to customize it. Always be thinking about who is the audience you're speaking to, what opportunities, think about what is most important to you. And while wanting speakers for entrepreneur school will be important, um, do you instead want to add a new coaching client? Like ask yourself, what is the most important to me? You can always, like at an online event, like talk in your commercial about the coaching, and then put in the chat, hey, I'm always looking for speakers for entrepreneur school. Who do you know who would like to speak about a business topic? There's ways to get around, but yes, no, we cannot ask for everything. I wish, let me see, I'm not going to tell you who this is. Hold on, but this is important because I have someone in my life that is wanting to combine marketing things. Now she's added wellness in because business owners need to feel good, accountability coaching, like the list keeps growing. Okay. And I'm like, okay, but now she wants to be all things to all people. And so she was beginning to describe it in her commercial. I said, let's just make it, I help you create a healthy business and a healthy you to create success in all you do through coaching, accountability, and recommended resources. I mean, because this is like 7 things she's offering now. So there are ways. That's a great question. There are definitely ways to do it. We don't want to if you overwhelm people, they won't get it and they'll pass you by. Mhm. Yep. Yep.
awesome.
All right, let's move into the next module. What do you say? So I love the big ask. And I tell this story the very first time I was networking with Australians. So I want you to imagine, here I am, I love their accent. Here I am with my Midwest US accent. And I'm talking to them and I don't have a prompt. They're not looking at the words big ask. And I was on giving a few networking tips. The Zoom is full, right? The Zoom is full. And I finished, and I'm talking about you have to put your big ask out there. And I finished my tips. So you know how, Kelly, when you finish speaking, sometimes you're like, whew, you kind of like let down a little bit. And so I finished speaking. I thought, oh, that went okay. And I look in the chat and I'm like, someone's like, are we allowed to swear in this meeting? And I'm like, who's swearing in this meeting? And then I look in the thing and I'm realizing they're talking about me. They're talking about me. Okay. So I didn't go as smoothly as I thought, apparently. So ever since then, I have a little big ask prompt. I never show up without the spelling because it's important. But for all of us, okay, for all of us, the question is, are you asking big enough when you're out networking? Okay. And I want you to think about, first of all, we want to ask for something. And then I'm going to take you from, some of you have never asked, and I'm asking you not to just ask, but to ask in a big specific way. So I'm really asking you to shift what's happening. Okay. And I go back to over the years, I'm not here to harp on insurance people. I'm here to help insurance people. So often I hear insurance agents say a good referral for me today would be to review your policy. Good referral, right? But But what if they were instead to take that referral request and say, so they do property and casualty insurance. And what if they said, hey, I would like to meet the owner of this specific driving school here in the city. I would love to collaborate with them to serve all the families coming through with young drivers, right? That's a strange time for families when they're like, oh, what is how our rates are really going to go up? We should really look at our insurance, right? And think about if that person could partner with the driving school and on Saturdays take donuts and coffee and go talk to the parents and educate them. Oh, like that's a lot of referrals. That's better than one policy review, right? That's one example only of switching up to have a big ask. And so I want to give you some examples so we talked about in the commercial, there's your name and company name, what do you do, where are you located, what you're going to ask for. And in our examples, we're going to take a look at 3 different areas. And a lot of businesses that will watch this here at Entrepreneurial School will fall into these areas: the business and the marketing, the real estate and finance, or the health and wellness. Now, if you don't, like I want to speak like as an example to a travel agent, what I would say to you would be, hey, in your business, do you love to focus on business travel? Or maybe in your business, have you found a niche and you love to help people with like retreats, right? And so look at where would you like, where do you think you can find the most synergy as I share? And then again, this is an opportunity to look at anything that's listed here, and you can write that resonates with you, and you can write it down and begin asking for it yourself. Okay, so we're going to talk about who are my best clients and why is that important? Because if I can't explain who my best clients are, I can't expect you to know. We're out networking and assume people know who to refer us to, and how would they? They can't, right? So it's up to us to know. And then we're going to take that example on steroids of the reviewing of a policy and the owner of the driving school as a possible referral partner, right? I'm really looking for more than one client at a time. That's what I really want. And then I want to talk to you briefly about your competition. So I had some limiting beliefs for many years about my competition. Part of that was because I had a competitor in my town I was in my city, and she was not happy that I was there. She hadn't had any competition in networking. And here she was actually, it was my first networking opportunity moving to a new area in 2012. I already had networked with thousands of entrepreneurs, and I was in my car on the way to an early morning chamber breakfast, ladies and gentlemen, and I was pretty confident. I was like, oh, I'm going to go meet these people. I'm going to bring this networking here, and it's going to be fantastic, right? And I get there and they go to introduce me to her, and she's like the welcoming committee. And they're like, hey, she's new here. And she's like, I'm so glad to meet you. And she's all smiles and she put her hand out. And I told her who I was, and she went, her face changed, and she goes, I know exactly who you are. I am with such and such. And I was like, oh boy, okay, great. Well, way to announce my arrival in town, right? And the worst part was, like, she had just asked me for a stack of business cards. They passed a basket of business cards at this meeting. She goes, we want a big stack. I gave her 2 inches or something like that. My cards weren't in there when it came around. She did not share my cards with people that day. That's just one example, okay? So in my mind, I thought, competition, I don't need to talk to my competition, but if you happen to think that at all, I want to help shift your mind today, okay? And that is, there will be some people that do say that. Oh no, but on the flip side, sometimes who you think is your competition could be your greatest companion. Sometimes there's a niche that you love serving that they don't, that they would give you those referrals all day long, and vice versa. Maybe you could refer something to them, right? But we have to have the conversation. We have to ask. And so you will often hear me say, even posting on my LinkedIn as an example, but I'm looking to meet others who run business networking groups from around the world. I want to see if there's ways for us to collaborate and connect, right? You just don't know, but we have to be willing to ask. And some of you may have had a bad experience like I did, and so it's tainted you, but don't give up. Don't give up. And then we're going to move more into power partners. Kelly mentioned she looks for power partners when she networks, and absolutely. So we're going to talk about it a little bit and dive into it here before we go. So what I want to do is we're going to start looking at the business examples. So now I will tell you, this particular examples across the board are for my global online referral organization. And so some of these will totally resonate with some of you. You'll be like, yes, those are my best clients. Okay, so just so you know, so sometimes you might say, if I'm in the business of helping people grow their business, I want to connect with others who do the same, right? So I love to work with business coaches, virtual assistants, people in beauty and wellness, social media people, website designers, people in Legal Shield in North America, more of a North America thing, right? And send out cards or mailbox power, right? So if you can spell out who your best clients are, people will help refer you. But if you don't tell them, they don't know. So the truth is, though, I'm really not looking for one business coach at a time. I'm really looking for multiple business coaches at a time. So how would I have that as a referral? So I want you to start thinking about, how do you get access to groups of people? So how about something like this? Kelly's gift of being able to speak here at Entrepreneurial School is a gift. Entrepreneurial School is a gift to be put in front of your audience, to be able to share your expertise and serve your audience. So thank you for that, Kelly. So we might be asking for in-person events. That sounds fun after COVID, right? Online events, the virtual summits, opportunities to be on podcasts. I would be specific. If this is the business people, I would ask for business podcasts. You might know people who do live streaming, and maybe you want to be a guest on their live stream. There's opportunities these days in Facebook groups to do teaching. And so, in fact, recently you've all heard the challenge, not craze, but the people do the challenges to launch things. I just, Cole did a challenge with someone for his people. So it wasn't my people. I took my challenge and we did it for his people. All kinds of opportunities exist if we will ask. And then if you want to speak to more than one client at a time, this is how I word this. So there's amazing direct sales and network marketing leaders that have groups of people that want their people to get great training, right? So this is, I don't ask for the top people because you might not know them. I ask for on-fire leaders with on-fire teams, and in my case, who would like to learn about networking. How could you ask for that? Ask. And then trainers of your clients. So how about the people who train the business coaches, the people who train the VAs? Are you with me? Where do the social media people go to learn what they know, right? They have to learn it somewhere. I don't know if there's a school. But think about, for you, how could you ask for more than one client at a time? Because that's going to be change the results you're getting from your networking. And then let's look at power partners. So if in my specific case, if I'm in the business of helping people grow their business, I should put Kelly Sinclair by name here, but I want to be with other people who help people grow their business, right? So podcast coaches, digital marketers, I should say the branding people, right? Business coaches, sales trainers, the printing promo products people, book coaches. These are all people who are helping people grow their business, but it's not competition with networking. Do you see how, like, we could all get one client and share them? That's the magic of power partnering. So this is the business segment. If you're in business, I invite you to take a picture of this or take a snapshot, screenshot, and then we'll move on to the next one. Awesome. So next, let's talk for our real estate and finance friends. This is all the people who help people with their money and all the things around money and real estate. And so what is most important is, you know who you serve, but your networking partners need to hear it. They need to hear it because they're going to say insurance, insurance, insurance. It's always insurance, right? But how can we bring better referrals for you? So spell it out to us in different ways. Let's think about in our life the transitions we go through. So starting as a young person, we like graduate and get a new job. We might be newly married and having children. Unfortunately, sometimes people get divorced. Sometimes people are laid off. Sometimes people are, in a good way, relocating for work, hopefully a good way. And then there's the people ready for retirement. And then there's, unfortunately, the deaths in the family, right? All these transitions in our life, we need our money experts to help us, right? So how can we be explaining it to people in a way they can hear it? And so Again, it's great to have one new couple that's getting married, right? But how can we reach out to multiple people at a time? So again, speaking, again, podcasts and live streams. Some finance real estate people could benefit from doing lunch and learns at companies. What if you got in to a local company and could go in and pick sandwiches and salads and have access to train? You're a mortgage person and you get to go educate all the employees about mortgages so that when they're ready, hopefully they come to you. You're their trusted person. You help get them ready. Lunch and learns can be amazing for this. And then how about if you do workshops and webinars with your power partners? I think of like the real estate agent and the mortgage person that go out and they do first time home buyer seminars, right? To help bring about new clients. And then how about also newsletter swapping? So the realtor will feature the mortgage person one month, and then the next month the mortgage person features the realtor. I hope I did that right. Newsletter swapping. So some of these may apply across the board in the different areas. And then let's look about power partners for real estate and finance. They're everybody from the tax person, the CPA, to the estate planning person, to the financial advisor, the real estate and mortgage person, the property and casualty, the banker, the senior care person, the legal shield, pre-need planning. In networking these days, we meet the money mindset coach. And you know what? All these people need to connect with the money mindset coach, because a lot of times people won't engage them for business because their money mindset isn't right. So they know they need to invest and then they don't do it, right? So that is a very valuable power partner for them to have, I believe. The credit repair people, life and business coaches, they'll know what's up with all this, especially the life coach is going to know that people are needing help, right? And then how about the contractors who serve in all the real estate, right? If you are someone in real estate and finance, this can be one way to up your big ask, for sure. So if you're in those areas, I want to invite you to grab that screen. And as we head towards the wellness, because I know Erin's going to be excited, I think, about this one. She might not be mentioned per se, but she definitely goes right hand in hand with this. And you teach me that perhaps I need to look at mentioning something like your business. So in wellness, it's the thing about people into wellness, they want all the things, right? We want all the things. We want the nutrition, the supplements, we want the massage, we want the personal trainer, we want the essential oils, we want like if you love wellness, you love it all, right? It's not so again, describing in different ways for your networking partners, people with low energy as an example, people experiencing anxiety, and this can be a combination of those ready to lose weight or those wanting to get in shape, people just ready for change. And you can also describe them in different ways, like busy moms, entrepreneurs. Some people like to do wellness for the business owners, children, couples. There's many ways to describe your best clients, and some of this is going to be personal on who have you decided you want to serve. And then what would be different? This is similar, so I want you to think about how to get in front of more than one client at a time. So let's say you do corporate yoga, and so or just online yoga. So you want to team up with somebody else who has the audience of people interested in wellness. Maybe it's a midlife metabolism coach, and she doesn't do yoga, but you do yoga, and you can introduce to the audiences. You see where I'm at? You see where I'm at? It's asking big, looking for the introductions, and then power partners. Okay, there's so many. There's so many that we could give. Women who care about their appearance and want to feel like their best self, something like that. That's right. That's right. Oh, let me see, health and wellness. See, okay, so in this, I also didn't say image consultant, but I could have. But yes, all the beauty things. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. The sample list of power partners are here as well. And so if this is your niche, I invite you to take a look and grab that screen and see what might work for you, or how could you make this your own? How could you make this your own? So the big ask is one of the important things. If your business commercial blueprint is the foundation, this is the rest of the building. And your big ask is what will unlock the referrals that you want for you to go to people who share your client, and it's not competition, and get super specific with them. Even people who don't do what you do. If you say, hey, I'm looking to be on a big business podcast, they probably know somebody, right? Just getting that specific is huge, right? It will open doors for you. It will open doors for you. So I actually invite you to don't laugh and don't say, Terilee, you are crazy. But again, I have the method and there is the madness. And so I invite you to make a list of 12 of your best clients, 12 people or companies to get more than one client at a time. If you have a dream list of competition, write down who your dream list is. And I invite you to make a list of power partners, 12 of them. And why do I say that? Okay, so I go back to the oral surgeon. The person asked for the oral surgeon 3 times and I couldn't help them, right? If you have 12 things, you have enough for 3 months, and then you can cycle back through the list with your networking, right? You can keep things fresh. You can keep things fresh with your networking partners, and they'll be able to help you all the more. So let's look at so some action steps as we end this particular segment, and that is I want to invite you. So now you know, I suggest you have 12. You know what? If you leave this call, or if you end this particular module here with Entrepreneur School, and you take the time and you develop 3 to 4, it's a win. It's a win. I want you to take the win and go practice it. Take the win and go practice it, but continue brainstorming your big ask. For several years, what sustained me, now I have like a worksheet, right? A big worksheet with who's my best client and how do I get one more time? Like I have this, right? But I just used to have a small little piece of paper. There was enough on it that I could, in a networking meeting, glance over at the wall. You know, I don't know if you keep cute little bulletin board or whatever by your desk, but I could just glance at that little sheet and say, oh, this is what I'm going to ask for now. I had some intention, right? I didn't have all the intention though. Whoops. And then I want you to consider sharing what you're looking for, this big ask. I say whenever and wherever you can. But what do I mean by that? So that's in one-on-one sessions with new people you're meeting. This is what I'm looking for. In your social media, don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm looking for this, right? You can totally, like I imagine if Kelly, I bet she has, but you can privately ask for referrals, like for people to teach here, or you can go open. And if you went open, I can't imagine what you would receive, the flood you would receive, you know, it depends. But if you want, you can go open with your requests and let people help you. People will want to help you, they just don't know how. So those are some action steps that you can take with your Ask Kelly as we close out this module.
Yeah, one of the things that was coming to mind for me when you had the little block is different ways to describe who your best client is.
Yes.
And I know that's something that I spend a lot of time working with people on as well, because we can sort of categorize based on demographics sometimes, or based on, you know, what they do. Like a lot of those in the list there were like potentially like symptoms, experiences, things people are feeling. But one other way is to think about like beliefs. Like what does your client believe and value that they need to believe or value in order to actually want what you have to offer, right? So it's really not too much of a stretch, Erin, to say, even like you could say women who are maybe a little vain, who care, like, because if you don't care that you have hairy armpits, then you're not gonna go get sugared, and we can just skip over that part, right? But if you do care, and it's not that it's bad, but it's like, it's just a way that people can identify, and it would make, you know, if you told me that, it would make me think of who do I know who I could kind of maybe put into that category and introduce you to, or tell about what you do, or do I, right? So it's not just about like, am I your potential client, but who could I help you find? And what are some of the things that can help us narrow that down in different ways too?
Mhm. So
Right.
good. So good. I think of who do you know who likes to take care of themselves? Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, just for my own clarification, would that be something that you would ask directly? Like you would just ask, you're looking for people who like to take care of themselves?
You can.
Or do you have like an example of your big ask?
Mm. You can ask in person. You can go on your social media. Do you talk about your business on Instagram? I could see this being an Instagram business or on Instagram.
For myself?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I do a lot of marketing through Instagram.
Yes. So spelling out, even when you say that you are looking for, if you think of the other people who serve your clients. So there's women who want to look good and feel good. So we might want the right manicurist, we might want the right hairdresser, the image consultant. There might be people selling clothing. There might be, there's all kinds of the purse person, right? Right. All those people you could share clients with, right?
Mhm.
Yes. I would, especially because we have to be local. Like, heck, I would like to come see you, but I don't think it's that close to Houston, right? But if I make it, near where you are, right? Um, but being specific about the local other people who serve your same client, building relationships with them, that could be huge for you because they're going to tell everyone about you.
Right. Okay.
This is
Does
like
that
the
help?
same methodology as like determining what marketing strategies are good. Because right there, you just suggested women's clothing stores. So there's Erin now going to all of the women's clothing stores in Cochrane with her business cards and making sure she knows all the owners and asking if you can keep some at the till, right? Like literally that simple sometimes. But
Yeah.
it's the outside of the box thinking like that that really makes a difference, right? Rather than, just continuing to try and like make somebody notice you on Instagram. This is why the relationships and the networking is such a powerful part of the marketing strategy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
Yeah.
as we move into this next segment, what's going to become, this is a great segue actually, is how can it be reciprocal? Not just, hey, clothing store, would you promote me? How do you get out of the box? How do you throw the box away and look at ways that you can promote them as well?
Mhm.
Could they have a fashion show, and could you be, somehow a sponsor and invite your clients to it, right? There's so many ways. We could spend the next hour on Erin's business.
That's what you get when you show up
I
live.
probably need it.
Yeah, that's what happens when you show up. So you did a good thing.
When you
did a
come
good thing.
live, you get coaching.
Yeah. So we'll get more into this. We can use you as an example, Erin, as we go.
Sure, I may have to duck out here in about 10 minutes, but
Okay, we'll give you the best 10
I'll
minutes.
continue on with the recording afterwards.
Awesome. We'll give you the best 10 minutes we got. Okay. So let's talk now about power partners. So power partners are, we talked about them. They're the people who we share clients with, and it's not competition. And this is actually one of the most powerful concepts in networking. This is, we were talking, if you went to all the people in town who serve your client, it could be powerful. There are people who will pay for upscale manicures and pedicures that just don't want to go to any little place to get it done, and they're probably your people, right? And then if you don't do that, I'm assuming you don't, if you don't do that, you can be telling all your people about this person, about how wonderful they are, and you can begin referring clients, right? It's very powerful, very powerful. So this is an important question that we're going to dive in on who these people are, and just take a look. So we had some other visuals. Here's one more, and this is not all encompassing, and you can definitely make your own, but just some examples. So we talked about like the health power partners, right? We talked about the financial power partners, some of the marketing people. Some of these are different than what appeared on the other screens. Some of them that definitely are different here is some of the business service people for those who are in those areas where we look at like IT, staffing, merchant services, payroll, right? Office supplies. It's a little different look than what we were looking at. But it's not just about the type of business, it's also about the type of person. There's got to be a match, okay? So networking and power partnering and build relationships is a lot like dating. And I don't know how long it's been since you ladies or anybody watching the replay have been on a first date. I can tell you, my husband's and my 20th anniversary of our first date was just a few weeks ago. We went out to celebrate, okay? So 20 years since I've had a first date. But the thing about relationships and dating is you go on one date and you decide, do you want to see him again? You can do that in business too. And then do you want to see them again? Do you want to further connect, right? It's powerful. 18 years since Kelly's first date. See, we're just right about in there, huh, girl? And so it's not just we want to be able to recognize what types of business, and then we want to look at the types of people and where they would be in their life and in their business life. So let's talk a little bit about that. So if you're familiar with the great Les Brown says, you got to be hungry. Have you heard him say that? And the thing about power partners is they've got to be hungry. If you were to go to someone who had been an image consultant, Erin, in your town for 30 years, and she's pretty much the end of her business career and isn't really taking on any more clients, she's probably not going to want to power partner with you, right? She's already set in her ways of where she's at in her business. But if you have someone newer that's growing their business, they'd be more likely to say, yes, I'd like to see how we could possibly refer to each other. How could we help each other? So it helps to have assets. It helps to have clients to share. It helps when you, have a following that you can share people with, your social media following. But even if you're brand new in business or launching something new, you can still power partner potentially with people. It's just that I recommend that you find people in the same place you are. It's very fun on the journey when you're new growing in business to share resources, share referrals, and be on the trail and the journey together, right? There's the community as a business owner, and that's one of the reasons why I think entrepreneur school is very important. And that's because we have a place to go to learn. We have a place to go where we can find community of our own people, right? So if there was anything I want to share about my philosophy when it's finding new people to meet, it's I have several networking mantras, and one of them is I want to encourage you to look for the people who are looking for you. So you might reach out to someone and say, hey, I would love to talk to you. I would love to have someone who does what you do to refer my clients to. I'd like to see if you'd be interested in possibly building a referral relationship. And if that person turns you down, doesn't reply, excuse me, this is just a sample of, number one, they might have missed what you said. They really didn't understand. Because if you said to me, I'd like to see how we could refer each other, I'd be very excited. I'd be, oh, great, let's talk about that, right? So if you have the attitude, you're looking for the people who are looking for you, you don't get your feelings hurt. You're looking for the people who say yes, right? And it's okay, those who aren't interested right now, maybe one day they will be, right? So where do you find these new power partners? Well, some of it comes in the ASK. Some of it is going to be literally word of mouth. Sometimes you can put it on your social media, say these are the types of people I want to connect with. Some of it might be networking. Going out, practicing that commercial, being out, meeting people. If I, today on the call I was on earlier, there was, 16 people on screen. And, if I attend an event and even 16 people is a lot of people to begin talking to, right? To meet them. I always will start with my potential power partners first, those who share my clients, and it's not competition, right? So be on the lookout when you're out and about. Be on the lookout if you're local, like Erin is. I would be looking at the new businesses popping up, and especially like the women's boutiques, and make sure that you go in and introduce yourself to the owners. Hi, I'm a local business owner in town. Would love to take you to coffee, bring you some coffee, chat with you, get to know some of your, about you and your business, and explore how we might be able to help each other. It's really hard to turn that down when you're sincere, right? So how do you connect? Just that. I would recommend you reach out. You can reach out online. You can private message people. If you have the ability to go in physically and meet people, I would do it. Just be a very friendly person. I think that people locally would love that, to meet you. And then what are some action steps? So we could talk about Power Partners, Kelly, for 3 years in entrepreneur school and not be done. So one thing that I do recommend is that you take a look at, do you have Power Partners already? Because some of you do. Some of you have already been building these relationships, referring back and forth. Always take a look every once in a while at how is the relationship going? How's the relationship going? Is there anything we could do to level things up so that we could give more referrals to each other? And then if things may have not gone well, you can always possibly, if you're willing to, put the cards on the table and talk about what happened or the ways to improve and try again, right? So start with who you have and then begin seeking out new Power Partner relationships. So take time to build that know, like, and trust factor and begin collaborating and partnering together with your new Power Partners that you're meeting. So this is this module. We could say so much more, Kelly, truly.
Oh my gosh, I'm just making a note about how to repurpose this training because it's so important. And I think one of the things I always talk about is do one small thing a day.
Mhm.
And one small thing like that I literally did while we were talking was send a message to someone who popped into my head while you were
Yes.
speaking, like, hey, we should reconnect and we need to book a coffee chat, right?
Yep.
Or whatever it is. So like to do one small thing a day, it is not it doesn't take much to, I'm thinking in my mind, post on Facebook, who do I know who is a blank for me. It was one of the things I was just writing down for Power Partners. Who do I know who is running a group coaching program that's looking for guest trainers,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
Something like that. Because
Yep.
maybe that's something I would like to do, right?
Yep. 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 Who could you introduce me to? People love to do it. You see it. Now, some platforms I think are more open to it than others, and some depends on the engagement you've been getting. But Facebook always, I think, seems to be pretty good for people to say, hey, this person, this person, this person, when you say what you're looking for. When in times when my LinkedIn is quite engaging, I'll get people to do the same. If you that's a whole other class about like LinkedIn algorithm. That's next month's class, right?
Yeah.
Lately, I'm not getting a ton of people, but I'm working on doing what I need to do to be able to get those types of answers again. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Because it can be just one connection, right?
Mhm.
That can
Yep.
make such a difference. It's one single time that you actually ask for the thing that gets you to the place. And it's it's interesting because I think we overthink a lot as humans and as business owners for sure. But we think that it has to be like some big grandiose thing that's going to be what the breakthrough is, that's going to get us to the next level. And it's really not. Like I told this story. I was on vacation and watching America's Got Talent in the States, and it's kind of a clear path. So if you want to be a performer of any kind, basically, you can try and get on a show like that, be discovered by Simon Cowell, get the stamp endorsed, approved, and then ta-da, you have a career, like, or you at least have like the real breakthrough of a career. That could be a path. And so you could see how I could try and do that. But as a business owner, there's no Simon Cowell. Like
No.
there isn't that thing to be
Mm-mm.
striving for. And so sometimes, for me, it has been so simple sometimes as to reach out to somebody and ask the person if they'll speak on my event.
Yes.
And because I asked, she said yes. And then we had a relationship and I was able to like, share that with people and
Yep.
leverage it further. And like, it kind of spiraled for me, like a whole series, this whole philosophy, like I said. So it doesn't, have to be complicated. These are
It's not
little
complicated.
things,
Mhm.
but they're
They make
so
they-
meaningful.
They're so meaningful. And the other thing is, let's talk a little bit about, while we're paused here, about the big ask, because it's important. I tell you to ask big and I want you to, but it's important that you are ready to receive what you're asking for. So I'm going to give you an
Mhm.
example. Okay. So that way back when I might have had like 2 or 3 chapters of like the virtual team. And I knew then I should ask for on fire leaders of network marketing and direct sales with on fire teams. But in my mind, as I would say it, Kelly, I was thinking in my mind, but what would I do if I got this?
Ooh.
What would I do with them if I got this? So I knew to ask, but I wasn't ready to receive. I mean, it took time for me. Once I had more confidence, guess what? These things like this started happening. The other thing is, when you end up in a one-on-one with someone and it's going super well, I want to encourage you to stand in your confidence, stand in your worth, know your worth. And this is how I ended up with, business partnering, doing my networking coaching with a global sales organization. Is the day that I was chatting with Eric Lofholm last October, we're coming upon a year. Oh, we're coming upon a year. I was not looking for him and he was not looking for me. And he was telling me, this is how I'm growing my company and I'm adding these types of trainers, and networking was not one of them, Kelly. Networking was not one of them. And I had known this man since like 2009. And over the years, I would have never thought I was worthy of working alongside him. But last October, when he was telling me, I said, are you looking for someone who would teach networking? And he was not. And he goes, oh, let's talk about that. And you know what? One thing led to another. But it takes you being in that moment and having that belief to know you're worthy, and just putting the ask out there. Yep. These sometimes we have, I was on a call recently and they were calling it their chicken list. So when you said about calling the person to ask them to speak, right? We can have people on the chicken list, like I'm too chicken to call them, right? It's But if we should all like have like chicken list hour or something like that, like once a month, and
Yes.
invite people to chicken list, give them a little motivational moment, and then we're going to reach out together. We're all going to reach out to people.
I love that. Oh my God. Don't get me going like that. I'm
You
like
get your
spinning.
courage. You get your courage, and you go
We're
ahead and
all
do
gonna
it.
do something, because for me, it always ends up being, it's that thing that you leave on your to-do list and you just keep pushing it to the
Yeah.
next day, to the next day. And you're like, it's the thing you're delaying. That's the thing you need to do. It's right. And sometimes it's like, it's write an email to somebody who I even had already had a conversation with and I told that I would connect with. And I'm like, I'm writing this email because I really want to like talk to you about a potential partnership, right? What
Yeah.
does that look like? And I was afraid for like 2 months to write that email.
But you did.
I did.
Okay, good.
I did. And now we're having conversations. So it's good.
Yes, you never know. And this also is like dating very much. And you start one place and you do one thing, and then you continue to build the confidence. And again, it wasn't if I couldn't have asked him, and if I wasn't ready, right? But also just I don't know that I would have been the person back initially either, right? So
Yeah.
you just never know. We just never know.
Yeah. And I always just try and adopt the mentality of what's the worst that could happen. So the person doesn't respond, they say no, thank you. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they say
Hey,
yes.
and you know what? They could be the people that are looking for you. We just don't know, and that's okay. Maybe it might be a different time.
I think that's what's magical about it. It's like exciting, right? It's not the stage at America's Got Talent, but it also is. Or it could be. Like you just don't know if you actually are walking through that door.
It also is. It's your own. You know what came to my mind when you're talking about that and saying there's anything for business? Like, I'm not someone that would be on Shark Tank, but Shark Tank is kind of like AGT
Right.
if you think about it. But yes, we could have our own AGT every single day on Zoom if we want.
Yes. Yes. And I like eliminated Shark Tank from the similar because they're all particularly looking for funding for something, and that's not always
Yes.
what your
But
goal
but
is.
but
Right?
but yet when it comes to something like power partnering and referrals and coming alongside, yeah, I agree. We can take that off the plate, but it
Chicken
can be
number.
your own personal every day.
Chicken.
You don't know. You don't know. So this actually segues very nice into the last module, and that's about one-on-one sessions, coaching sessions. And so this is when this is so important, and that's because of all the things that we teach. Okay, go to the networking meeting, make that connection. We talk about building the relationship. All the good stuff happens in one-on-ones outside of networking meetings. We want to be clear. Networking meetings are places to connect. All the good stuff happens in one-to-one meetings, and all the good stuff happens that it starts to really get good the longer you maintain relationship with people. Okay. So this morning when I was speaking, we were talking about how I'd known that person for 18 months. I've probably known Kelly about the same amount of time. The longer I know her and the longer we move in our entrepreneurial journey and do our things, the more I think opportunities that we're going to have to be able to share each other with our audiences. And that's just part of what happens. But it all starts with starting with one coaching session. And then the thing about it is you continue to have them off and on. But you know what? Instead, once you know someone, it's, hey, what's the latest? You know what's happening? Tell me what it is, and I want to know how I can help you, right? And it's quicker. It's quicker because you know each other. And how were the kids, and how was your summer, right? And it's much quicker. But let's just talk about this because there might be people, Kelly, who are newer, and I've seen one thing happen with these over the years. That's sometimes new people don't get it, and they don't get that it's a conversation where you're talking back and forth and sharing about what you do and exploring how you can help each other. Sometimes people think that they're going to just tell all about themselves, and they never ask about the other person. And that's not what this is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not building a relationship. So why invest your time? Because I promise you, this is when the good stuff happens. And then who do you want to coach with? Well, what do you all think I'm going to say? I would start with my power partners first. Two things. If I'm at a networking event and someone says, I've been looking for someone to help me with my 1-minute business commercial. Great, I'll talk to them. Right?
Yes.
Right? I've been looking for someone who does what you do. That's number one. And number two, your power partners. Okay. And when should you set a coaching session? So there's a couple of things that come into play here. So I know Kelly's involved with her local chamber. Like if you have events you're going to, you could always invite the local people to meet you before the event there or stay after, like the next time. That's a nice place just to get it done, right? But online, it's just set an online calendar, put your availability and see the people on Zoom, right? Whenever you can. Where should you have one? I think whatever is convenient, but if you have an office, it's great to invite people to your office. If the person you're meeting has a place of business, it's fun to go see it. Like Erin should totally go into like those other women's businesses, right? If she has a chance, Erin, please listen. Invite the owner of that boutique to come and experience one of your services for free. Right? Build that relationship, right? So coaching sessions, where should you have them? Wherever is convenient. One of my favorite ones, local in town or in city, is like there's always a coffee shop in town where all the business owners gather. And that's where I love to have coaching sessions because you get to meet multiple people at once. So how do you properly coach with someone? Well, again, it's back and forth and how can we help each other? And I'm going to show you, and I'm going to get Kelly this link so that she can share it with you. But I suggest you use a template, and I'm just going to share really quick what's on this. This is actually like a Canva resume template. And what's on here, it's a PDF, and it has my name, what I do, how I create value, who I'm looking for, my possible power partners, what to tell others about me, and some of my skills, experience, and contact information. Now, if I go to coach with you, I can send you this before so you have it to look at. Some people are busy, they might not look at it right in the moment. But what if we're talking and just chatting, and I open up and keep it on screen while we're chatting, and suddenly, like like Kelly could say, oh, I didn't know you were part of such and such an organization. I've been looking to speak there for years. Suddenly you cut to the chase, get to the point, and you can see these details about this person, right? It really cuts through time, and allows people to see what exactly you're looking for. So having that template to share is key, and I will get Kelly the link to share it with you all. So again, you're properly gonna go back and forth, and what do you do, and who do you work with? These are all the questions we've been answering. Good news, you're ready to answer them. What are your goals? What I will say, like this time of year, so this is probably evergreen, but like let's say as you move into fall, as an example, say, hey, it's going to be the end of the year soon. What's happening for you and your business? Kelly and I just had this conversation last week, right? And it was, what's happening for you between now and the end of the year, and how can I support you? People, what's important to you right now, and how can I help? People love to answer that. That is the question to ask people. What are their wants and needs? How can you help them? And brainstorming the ways to help each other. And the thing is if you get to the point where you're like, when she says, I'd love for you to come and speak at Entrepreneur School. And when I say, I would love for you to come and speak at this event, we're going to take these steps. And then over time, the chances are greater that there'll be next steps to take. We just don't know what they are yet, right? So keep the people that you want to hold close, the people that you want to support, top of mind, and follow up with them from time to time to see what's the latest and how you can help. Always be looking at what next steps you can create. And it's always a good idea to even put a date out on the calendar a couple weeks out, or maybe a couple months out, just for a check-in. So I'm going to leave you with this last thought, and it's a mind-blowing thought. If we've done a lot of mind-blowing so far, Kelly, I think, I'm afraid, but it's one thing to have that coaching session with one power partner. But what if you were on Zoom able to bring together like 3, 4, 5 of your power partners who you all share the same client, and you were able to introduce each other and brainstorm ways that you could all help each other? This is the game changer.
I love that.
This one is powerful. Maybe that's our next step. Kelly, we're going to bring 2 people and introduce.
Yeah.
And see what comes.
I would always do that when I had a summit. I would have an event just for all the speakers.
Yep.
Right? Because it's not just about the audience. It's about connecting those people to each other as well, and creating relationships.
Absolutely. So that is my big idea to leave. And then just some coaching session action steps would be: set a goal with how many new people you want to coach with each week. And then one of my greatest tips is, it is such a blessing and such a smart move when you are in a Zoom, as an example, and you message someone and say, hey, I would love to get together with you. Here's my calendar link. And if they book that session and you leave the Zoom and they've already booked in on your calendar, no chasing them, right? Like you walk away and the appointment's already booked. And so this can also be, if you're at your local chamber event, just pull out your calendar before you leave with someone and walk away and have that appointment booked. Know when you're going to meet that local person too. Very powerful. And then we could have a whole class on follow-up. I know, right? We have a whole class. So Kelly, I have a little gift for your people here at Entrepreneur School. And I hope it's okay if I would love to share my latest book. It's where a lot of our concepts were taught out of today, but it's high-level networking. It's strategies to expand your network, build referral relationships, joint venture partners, and to grow your email list. I would love to gift that to anyone who reaches out to me. It would be my pleasure to send it to you.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you so much. I love that. There's so many good things talked about today, and they're like there was a comment earlier, like the things I didn't know I even needed to hear, good reminder. And yes, I can take that action. So I hope that everybody watching this is leaving feeling empowered that, when you think about networking, it's about helping. It's a service. It's about how can you help other people, and they're going to come in with the same mentality and want to help you. So there's no like yucky feeling like salesy anything as part of it. The coaching sessions are not discovery calls. That's separate. If someone says I do need help with my 1 minute commercial and they then want to actually work with you, that's have a different conversation. But when you're having a follow-up with somebody, it's about ongoing supporting each other and be really interested in it, right? Sometimes,
Yes.
some of us are like maybe a little more introverted or like you know what your own energy level is when it comes to that. So you maybe only want to book one a week or, be a little more selective about it so that you can actually pour yourself fully into who
Mm,
you're talking to, right?
mm. I I love that point, and that's just as we begin to close out, and it is the thought of you create your schedule. You set the boundaries. And I used to think, oh, I needed to book back to back to back to back to back, and I needed to be on calls every day. And no, you don't. No, you don't. You can, say these are the days I take calls. These are the days I don't. I
Yes.
put time in between my calls. Yeah, I only take calls in the morning. You have the ability to control that. So self-care and managing you and your energy is so important.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for all of your genius, Terilee, all of the resources that you've provided today, and all the great ideas that you gave me personally just from being here. So I'm really excited. And for
I'm
those
glad
of
to be here.
you watching, don't forget to check out our calendar of upcoming events and make sure that you come and check out some of the other experts that are coming in. And as you know, if you come live, you get some one-on-one attention. It could really be helpful for you. So take care. Bye for now.